Elasticity of demand is a measure of the change in the quantity demanded of a good, the number of goods that buyer will buy relative to change in the price of that good. In general, if the price of a good raises, buyers' willingness to buy the good will decrease. However, the rate of this change varies. For certain goods, a small price increase will result in demand falling drastically, while for other goods, buyers are still willing to buy them even if the price reaches supply. In economic, this difference is measured as elasticity. More clearly, elasticity of demand shows the percentage change in quantity demanded if there is a 1% price increase and all other things remain the same. Because quantity demanded almost always follows a price rises, the elasticity of demand is usually negative. Although practitioners sometimes do not write the negative sign, the demanded for a good is said to be elastic if the elasticity is greater than 1, meaning that a 1% increase in price results in a greater than 1% decrease in demanded. On the other hand, inelastic demand is demand with an elasticity smaller than 1. Apart from that, there is a classification of perfectly elastic demand as having elasticity, unitary elasticity 1, perfect inelastic, and perfectly elastic. A handful of goods have positive elasticity, so it is an anomaly of the law of demand. Determining factor. The main factor that determines the elasticity of demand is the ability and willingness of consumer to postpone consumption or look for substitute goods when price change. This ability or willingness can be analyzed into several factors. Availability of replacement goods. The more substitute goods available, the more elastic demand will tend to be because buyer can buy other goods even if price changes slightly. Percentage of the buyer income. The higher the price of a good when measured a percentage of the buyer income, the higher the elasticity tends to be because buyer will be more careful in purchasing the good. Need. The more important the need for an item, demand tends to become inelastic because buyer will buy in regardless of price. Example of elasticity of demand. Elasticity of demand measure how sensitive change in the quantity demanded of a good are to change in price. When the price of a good falls, the quantity demanded of that good usually rise. The lower the price, the more of the item in purchased. Elasticity of demand is shown by the ratio of the percent change in quantity demanded and the percent change in price. For example, if a motorbike has a demanded elasticity of 2, then the motorbike is classified as an elastic good because the elasticity value is more than 1. So it can be said that the quantity demanded of motorbike is greatly influenced by the price covered. Influencing factor. The elasticity of demand cannot change by itself. Each good has its characteristic, so it is influenced by the quantity demanded and the price set so that market balance occurs. Factor that influence good and demanded elasticity, availability and ability of substitute goods. The intensity of need for each item is different, so the elasticity categories are also different. For example, primary needs and tertiary needs will have different elasticity. Consumer income. In consumer income is relative to the price of the good, demand will be inelastic. Items that have become a habit to use, buyer will still buy them even though the price